so at this point I've drinking what, 2 liters of water? 2 fucking liters. In fact, I'm starting to get a little tired, so I'm gonna switch to kickstart. This is definitely a good idea. Yeah, 2 fucking liters. I wasn't kidding. 2 back-to-back submissions, and I expect them to be fucking glorious. Let's get into it. Are these going to beat mine? Or are they not? I don't know. I'm not actually going to read mine. As you can see, I crossed it out. Okay, so this one isn't... Okay. It's... Alright, not too bad. New superhero law passed. Ooh, a superhero story. The government has recently passed a new law requiring all citizens with powers to report their abilities to the government. With this law, all people possessing a superpower are obligated by law to report their powers with the newly created Federal Board of Superpowers, which was created in order to keep track and support those who wish to use their powers for the betterment of society. Yeah, sure. Proponents of this law, including superhero Manga Sword, and many businesses say that this law will help keep dangerous people with powers in check and help regulate the use of power so that society truly benefits from citizens that possess powers. Opponents of the bill, including the superhero Moose, and many private training schools argue that the law is an invasion of privacy and that people with powers revealing them to anyone, including the government, should be optional, not required. Opponents also argue that those with powers wishing to go against the law will ignore the law and still remain a threat to society, rendering thus rendering the bill useless. So this is like a gun control situation, right? More information on the exact specification of the law will be presented in a speech scheduled Friday afternoon by our president, Skim. He will explain why he believes this law will better our society and how the FBST will work with all the supers to ensure that each person's powers are used to their potential in an unharmful way. The speech will be live streamed and recorded on our website for those who are interested in hearing what Skim has to say on the matter. Everyone in this nation anticipates his response as we look into the future of the cooperation between supers and the government. Article written by Katarina Strider. Ali Silver. Okay. I minimized the online news article and sigh. They actually did it. The law actually passed. The government now has more control over our lives, as the previous laws didn't exert enough powers over our lives. Come on. Too much repetition. I get that people are terrified of dangerous people potentially gaining those powers. The current system helped crime and kept the government in check. With this, the government officially has a legal hold over every superhero, which is not good news. I glance at my clock. The display says 6:22, but I know it's 2 minutes behind, so the actual time is 6:24. And this is an important detail why. I yawn and officially get ready for my day. I can't wait until I catch up on sleep during weekend because 2 to 3 hours of sleep per night is not enough. Balancing my school and work is honestly a pain, especially since I have to hide what I do from my parents and from everyone. So the narrator is a super, and I don't know who it is. After I got dressed, I walk out into the kitchen but stop at the end of the hallway when I hear my parents' conversation, which is sadly a common occurrence. "Oh, honey, did you hear the good news?" My mother exclaims. "Oh dear, this again." "No, I haven't," my father says, like he does every single time my mother asks this question. "What happened?" "The superhero law passed," my mother exclaimed. "The government finally stepped up." "That's great, sweetie," my father replies. His tone is nonchalant as usual. I already. which I find odd. I thought he supported this bill. You think all police officers would, with how one of the arguments for the law passed was making police officers safer from rogue supers. I'm so relieved, my mother says. Someone needs to keep a check on those people calling themselves superheroes. You never know which ones are going to turn rogue and destroy this country or this city or anywhere those rascals hang out. I know, my father says. I feel better knowing that our son is going to be living in a safer environment. Okay, so the narrator is a male. Even though you only care for my safety when I'm in situations you find unsafe, not situations I find unsafe. This training schools are just looking for a profit when opposing this law, mother says. And the arrogant moose, all he does is blabber on about nonsense. I'm glad we're going to be safe from that tyrant. Honestly, how selfish. Safe from this tyrant moose, huh? Mother's going to be absolutely livid if she ever finds out that this so-called tyrant moose is currently living in her house and is listening in on this conversation. The amount of faith my parents have on this government scares me. If they had seen the government secrets I had stumbled upon while trying to find a villain's hideout, they would have given second thoughts about their blind faith. If they knew the identity of the most powerful supervillain that no one had managed to bring down. Shade, you're up, Mom says, stepping me out of my thoughts. Good morning. Put on a fake smile and greet her. Good morning, Mom. I wonder how much of the conversation she knows I overheard. For some reason, my parents like to avoid talking about politics and the superhero business with me. Do they really think I'm so naive I'm not aware of the world around me? I made pancakes, my father said, straight to the point as usual. Help yourself. I grab some pancakes and also pour myself a cup of coffee, despite the fact that it legitimately tastes like dirt. Oh, I so agree. I fucking hate coffee. If caffeine didn't exist, I'd be a zombie at this point. At least my dad remembered to make blueberry pancakes this time instead of the chocolate chip pancakes. I notice the syrup and butter are already on the table and smile. I focus on eating my breakfast and forcing down my caffeine source that my parents for some reason seem to worship along with pretty much everyone in my school. Every day I wonder why I picked up my first cup because I was curious about whether the caffeine would keep me awake because now my parents expect me to drink coffee now every day. Not to mention the fact that I still feel tired every single day. The caffeine might not even be working yet, but I put myself through this torture every day. The word every day seems to be used too much. And it's not one word, it's two. It's every day. After I finish up my breakfast with me and my parents staring in silence at the table, I quickly finish getting ready for school, grab my backpack, and make sure I have everything I need before leaving. I hear my parents mumbling in the background, but I don't catch the words they are saying behind my back. I walk out the front door and head over to my bus stop. The bus comes every day at 7 a.m. to take me to the land of trying to stay awake and failing to do so. Today is no exception as the bus pulls up to our stop at 7 o'clock sharp. When I board the bus, I smile and wave at the driver, who seems to appreciate that someone is acknowledging that they exist. I may be tired, but I still have politeness and decency. When I'm in my seat and the bus starts moving, I pull out my phone. I open the Discord and find that I have a new message from Sugar Cookie. Sugar Cookie, we can't tell the FBST about who we are. TWOP is bound to have access to their files. Discord. One of the only outlets of social media that the government can't snoop into. Because it's officially an app for gaming, the government is able to gain the legal rights to monitor the conversations going on in the app. And if the government tries to hack into Discord, Sugar has confirmed that a powerful hacker is protecting the entire app from being hacked into, which makes spying on the conversations impossible for everyone except for the hacker in question. At first, I was reluctant to communicate this way when some mysterious person could read our messages, but Sugar is confident that Discord is safe and this app is my only way of communicating with her. Even with our differences in opinion, I know I need her as an ally. I instantly respond to her message. I know. I wasn't planning on it. You know what this law means, right? I see that Sugar is typing and a response pops up after a couple of seconds. Yeah, Hopefully your protestation efforts are going to prevent some of the heroes from selling their souls to the devil himself. The bus pulls up to the next spot, and I exit Discord just in case someone decides they want to sit next to me. No one usually does, but I don't want to take chances and have someone find out that superheroes avoiding the government supervision are using Discord as an app to communicate. But with this new law, I'm hoping that superheroes who use Discord to communicate with each other are the same who oppose this new law. If the makers of Discord are forced to hand over the ability for the government to monitor messages on here, it wouldn't be good for any of us who are anti-government. When the bus starts moving again and no one is next to me, I re-enter Discord and see that Sugar's offline. She must have seen that I went offline and followed suit, which makes sense. I exit Discord and go to YouTube. I pull my earbuds in, plug them in, and start playing the song Snow Hey Oh by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, which is the song I play most days because this is the best song in the universe that I ever had. And if anyone disagrees with me, I'll fight them with my enhanced strength, enhanced speed, and ability to sound like what I think is a moose. Why does the term brutal moose come into my head? Like, hold on. But anyway, that's what comes into my head as soon as I hear moose. Not that I have seen a single brutal moose video, but the bus pulls up to school and I get off with the other students. I walk into school and head to the place near my first period where I normally hang out with my friends before the first bell rings. There I see Alex on his phone standing in the hallway alone. I walk up to him and stand there for a while. When Alex doesn't notice me, I wave my hand in front of the screen. Hello, I ask. Anyone home? Alex blinks and looks up to me. No, there's no one home. We are at school, Shade. Fair enough, I reply. Although you seem to be more in phone land than in school. I look over Alex's head and see Dino is approaching us from the distance. Alex and I sit in silence and watch him approach. Alex is more of Dino's best friend than he is mine, but I'm good friends with Dino and I get along with Alex, so I'm not too bothered by the fact. Dino's pretty quiet, but he's very kind-hearted. I have no idea how he gets along with the rest of us, considering the other three of us in this group are different levels of crazy. I greet thee, Mr. Floss, I joke. How is your wife Dental doing? Alex chuckles as if he's trying not to laugh. Dino smirks a little, and I look at the two of them confused. Usually they facepalm at my crappy jokes, not laugh at them. What about this particular joke was extremely funny, and what do they really not want to acknowledge that the fact that they found this one funny? Am I getting better at making up jokes? After a while of me staring at them in confusion and wondering if I accomplished something, I feel someone hug me from behind and screech words I can't comprehend in my ear. And I know exactly who it is. What the hell, Allie? I cover my ears and Alex and Dinah laugh at Allie's tendency to sneak up on me randomly and scare me. I wish that my powers came with enhanced hearing so she couldn't pull crap on like this on me. I don't need to have a heart attack every day. Hi, Shade, Allie says. Did you read our article? How much of that article was actually your work? I ask, still salty over my hyperness when I can barely stay awake. You're just the editor. I will have you know, young man. Allie starts to rant. Alex and Dino shake their heads at our antics and watch the conversation in music. I provided the coffee and the moral support. Cat would not have finished the article without my wisdom and expertise. Not to mention that I am a grammar queen and that the articles I oversee are flawless. Thank you very much. I'm actually going to verify this. Hold on. Flawless, huh? Absolutely flawless. It wasn't even that long, I say. Allie scoffs. What? I can't tell whether she's legitimately upset or being overdramatic at this point. You expect us to write a 10-paragraph essay on the latest news overnight? You know the bill was announced as official at 2:12 in the morning, right? Would you like to take my take my job, oh wise one? At this point, Dino reaches into his luggage box and hands Allie an espresso bean. I try not to laugh at Allie's face lights up and she takes the bean from Dino. At this point, I've stopped wondering why Dino carries around espresso beans. I think he's adopted the crazy from all of us weirdos. Not that it's a bad thing. Thank you, Dino. Alex squeals, hugging and squishing poor Dino. Someone's unusually hyper today. I hear Alex mutter under his breath. I chuckled to myself at the comment. Dang, 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 dang. I look at Allie. You know, you wouldn't have to sing the bell every single time this happens. Don't worry, Allie says. I only do it when you're around. She waves and heads off to her first period. I look at Alex and Dino. See you guys at lunch. See you at lunch, Alex replies. I head to my first period, which happens to be English with Mr. Crypto. What a joke. After that class is done, with me sleeping most of the time, I go to my second period, which is culinary. Right now and there, our teacher has decided to teach us how to make salt, because apparently salt is super important in cooking. We have to know how to make it instead of having the capability to go to the store. After that great logic ends with that all too familiar bell, I go to my third period, which is my history class. I sleep through this one because history is pretty pointless. I'm relieved when the lunch finally arrives after the bell rings at the end of the third hour. Damn, you did not get a lot of sleep last night, did you? I go buy lunch from the cafeteria, and then I go to the table where I usually sit. There I find Allie leaning on Dino while eating chicken. Dino is talking to Alex about the game Emily is Away. I know this because she's talking about Emily in an almost romantic way, and Dino is into random video games, and I guess he caught wind of this one. I don't know why he waited this long to play it, though. Because the second game came out, remember? Did you ask her out? Alex says. No, Dino responds. Well, of course you didn't. That's how the game goes. Well, you should, Alex says. Alex clearly doesn't understand the game because asking Emily out doesn't do any good. Hey guys, I say. Everyone looks at me. Hi Shade, Alex says. How are you doing? Terrible, I say. I can't make it through this day. Yes, you can, Allie mumbles. Clearly tired. You're Mr. Canfield, not Mr. Cantfield. Alex and I laugh while Dino gives Allie an espresso bean. I swear this girl lives off of these things, and I'm still somehow tired. She could possibly have 100 shots of caffeine in her veins and still manage to fall asleep. I don't understand why Allie keeps on drinking coffee and eating all those espresso beans if it doesn't help her stay awake. So this is another unfinished one. Mine's not finished either. Other than this glaring issue, the writing in it is actually pretty good. Just a couple of when you include a detail into a story, it should have some meaning. That meaning can be like a symbolic meaning, it could be comedic relief, but details like this are usually distracting. It's a little word of advice there. In any case, that's that story done. I honestly quite enjoyed reading it. Shadabus 99, Love and War. This is the person that beat me last time. Let's see how this goes. So tell me again why I'm on the front line, Lost. I had been subject to hair-thin needles, blue fire, something that closely resembled a hammer, and most interestingly, extremely loud music, and all for a reason I didn't exactly sign up for. You're doing this because I trust you, Lasmon told me. You have powers, which can't be said for everyone out there. Of course I'm going to put you on the front lines. I was irritated. I could spew volleys of salt from my body at will, with the consequence that it drained my body of its natural nutrients. I could only do so before it killed me. I hope you're not that scared, Enternode said, walking behind me. He wore a silver-plated chest with 2 large shoulder pads that weren't. That's where nearly the size. Oh my fucking god! I am having. I'm having a panic attack over this. That were nearly the size of his head. The shoulder pads were decorated with intricate patterns that looked to form a particular Pokemon. He had on a pair of silver braces with linen gloves with crystals over the knuckles. His leg piece was connected from his waist to his ankles and were padded heavily. He wore knee plates and special boots that were designed to absorb sound and redistribute it back to the ground. All along the border of all Enternode's armor and the design on the shoulders was covered with bright pink, making him pop out. Overall, the design was stellar, except for the ridiculous padding placed on his back. It was like a mattress, and it covered all of his back, the back of his head, and the back of his legs and arms. He looked like a bed that grew a consciousness and will to live. Well, maybe not so much the second part. Oh my god. I couldn't laugh at the guy. I wore identical armor to him, except my trim was yellow, and the symbol on my chest made what looked like a smiley face. Everyone in this small force of heroes wore the identical armor. Las Milan's had a green trim with a bug on his shoulder pads. Dino's trim was white, and the symbol formed many dots side by side. And Cody had orange trim with a shield emblem. The ground trembled. Las Milan had made us the armor when Orphan began his havoc on the city. He would be untouchable if not for it. He was like us. He had superpowers. More specifically, he could control sound. It really makes Salt Constructs seem like a child's toy, doesn't it? We had Enternode who could make animals bow, Dino who could turn into a dinosaur, Lastmon who could summon bugs, and Cody who can lift trucks, and me who can summon salt. One of these things just doesn't belong here. One of these things just isn't the same. Enternode can control animals, Dinofloss can become an animal, and I shoot salt. Yeah, I'm chosen to be on the front line with all the Lost Blonde's bugs. I wonder who the enemy is here, Lost or Orphan? Lost. I tried to hide the fact that I was scared and upset, but I felt like all of us were. There was a thick aura in the air. It made it hard to breathe and to think. We were in the lobby of the Grand Hotel, which is the tallest building in the city. The power was dead, and the only light came from the windows around us. It was a sunny day outside, but it still felt so dark in here. The buildings around us were in tatters. We attracted the destruction Orphan had made, and Lost Blonde predicted this would be his next place of attack. I solemnly hope he was wrong. Remember, Lost said, examining his palms, there were only parts of our body. They were the only parts of our body that were exposed except our hands. Orphan is our friend, and even if it has been taken by darkness, remember that. I couldn't dream of killing him after all the things we'd been through. All the time we had spent trying to solve each other's problems and dry each other's cheers. I just thought of something. This sentence fragment right here sets a very interesting scenario for a possible betrayal story. I don't know if it actually goes through with it. But if the powers work the way I think they do, or interact the way I think they do, We're going to bring him back to us, I said, stepping forward. I struggled to keep the tears out of my eyes. Agreed, Enternode said, stepping forward too. I want to punch that bastard in the face and then hug him until he's normal again. That's the least we could do for him, Cody said, stepping forward. Dino said nothing but smiled. A single teardrop ran down his right eye. He stepped forward. Then let's do this, Lastmon chanted. He stepped forward. We put all our hands out and fists bumped each other's crystal knuckles. For a heist, we all shouted. For a brief moment, I wasn't consumed by fear. The ground trembled as if an earthquake had smashed the hotel. The only problem was that this earthquake seemed to be coming from above, not below. Orphan had arrived. Remember, Lesmond started. Your boots are the first line of defense against his sound. Stay facing him at all times. The pads on your back will protect you against his slams. Once we get to him, your headphones go in. We won't be able to hear anyone but each other. Yeah, we all shouted. Some of the panels from the ceiling began falling, and a white powder began filling the air. My legs were shaking, and if it wasn't for Orphan sound waves, I was terrified. I looked around and saw everyone's face. Enternode was biting his lower lip, though he looked confident in himself. Dinah was crying, and Cody was punching a pillar. Why? Chunks of rocks flew away from it. Lostmon was the only one who didn't seem all too scared. Albeit his face was more pale than usual. Maybe it was the powder from the panels, or because it was hard to see with the restricted light. Let's go already! Cody cried out, making his way to the elevator. We ran behind him as the trembling calmed down. That elevator won't work, Lass said. The entire building is warped. I don't suppose the stairs are warped too? Enternode asked. I had made way to the door leading to the staircase and opened it. The stairs were intact, but covered in dust. Seems fine, I called. I did as I was instructed and took the front line as I charged up the stairs. My friends followed. Flight after flight we flew. Some nice alliteration, actually. Lostmon had summoned numerous beetles from under his armor that we rode on top of. Dino's nose had disappeared and his eyes had turned black. His knees were bent the other way and his legs were longer. His skin had grown tight over his bones. He had transformed himself into a dinosaur and was clearing the entire flights in a single step. I would ride on Dino's back if he were okay with it, which he wasn't. Enternode, myself, and Cody ran normally. Enternode had a backpack and it kept juggling around wildly, despite his orders for it to remain still. Inanimate object, I recommend you to remain still. I assumed there was something alive in there, considering his ability to command animals. I'm sure Cody's muscles didn't mind the climb. I could make salt platforms and force them to rise, and I could fly up the stairs, but I was confident that it would knock me out once I got to the top. In my belt I had 3 EpiPens, and inside the pens were liquid salt among other nutrients I could inject myself if I started feeling weak from using my power. I had to try my best to preserve them. 30, 31, 32. What type of hotel had this many floors? The trembling from this ground was absolutely terrifying. I was petrified of heights, as I'm sure most of us were. At this point we were in the clouds, according to the window in every flight. A fall from this height wouldn't feel good. Gotta hope Orphan works with us. Finally, on the top floor of 45, the trembling became level with us. Orphan was here. We'd only seen him in the sky from where we had stood in the city streets. He was surrounded by a barrier of sound that I would assume would protect him. If our outfits worked properly, his sound would have little effect on us, though. Headphones in, Lesmond screamed. I obeyed, and the constant bombardment of sound had made my head sore. From inside each of my shoulder blades, I pulled a large headphone out and pulled them to their respective ears. Once in my ears, small rods came out of them, attaching themselves to my ear. This way, they couldn't be pulled out so easily. I heard nothing, not even the trembling around me. Suddenly a voice lit up. It was Lostmond's. Can you hear me, over? He asked. Yes, Enternode said back. I can hear you. How about everyone else? Over? He asked. Yes, Dino said. Nice. Over, Lostmond said. Can you stop fucking saying over at the end of every message? I asked. I heard everyone but Lostmond laughing. Well, screw you too, then, he said back in a sarcastic tone. So we all good? There was a word of agreement all around. Okay, don't take these off, ever, Lostmond said. Your ears will explode. I'd like to say he was joking, but something told me he wasn't. Let's do this already, Enternode said. Let's do this already, Enternode said, walking through the door. He twisted the handle and pulled it towards him. He filtered in, with me in the front. I was greeted by a terrifying sight. There was one long hallway stretched across the hotel ground. Along the hallway were doors on both the left and right to the hotel rooms. Since this was the very top, these rooms were more expensive and much bigger. There was maybe a total of 15 doors in this hall. All of the paint on the walls had fallen in chips because of the endless sound waves. All of the tiles in the ceiling laid among the ground. I could see the wiring for the floor and between the grid of where the tiles would normally sit. Everything seemed so interesting to look at, but I had my eyes focused on one thing, one person. He stood in the middle of the halls with a hardly visible force field around him. He had his back turned to us. Orphan. Although I couldn't hear anything, I could feel how the ground vibrates from the sound. If I hadn't put on the headphones, my ears might be bleeding by now. Despite all the trembling, I stood perfectly still as my boots were forcing the vibrations back onto the ground. Orphan! I screamed at the top of my lungs. Orphan! He spun around and faced us. He stood maybe 25 feet away, and I could see how much the darkness had consumed them. His eyes were bloodshot, and his pupils had consumed his entire iris. His shirt and pants were flapping like he was standing in a tornado. Holy shit, Lesmond said, horrified. What happened to him? Dino screamed. The bugs had returned to Lesmond's armor, and Dino had returned to his human form. Orphan spoke, but I couldn't hear what he was saying, but I could feel it. Every syllable bounced off the bottom of my feet, and I could make out what he was saying. I was wondering when you'd get here. He trembled. He moved forward, smiling wickedly. We're here to bring you home, Orphan, Lesmond shouted, walking up beside me. You don't need to be angry anymore. We're here, Enternode shouted. Cody whispered to us. If he attacks us, run to the door to our right. I'll charge it down. We understood, but said nothing. Orphan stepped closer. The sound felt like wind, wrapping and twirling around us. The thought occurred to me that he may be, in fact, a god with this much power. I was hoping you'd meet me. I was looking for you, I heard through my shoes. He was looking for us? I got a small pit in my stomach. What had this darkness done to our friend? Just let down your power, Lesmond shouted, and we can go home. He was cut off by Orphan swing. Come on, capitalize. Orphan swinging his hands forward, sending a wave of sound at our direction. I reacted fast enough, forcing a crystal wall of salt to come out of my hands like a fire extinguisher. The barrier exploded into shards, and the blast of sound annihilated it. Salt went to everyone's eyes, but I made it melt away. Go, go, go! I heard Cody shout. I could feel more. I could feel me temples. I could feel me temples pulsing from the salt barrier. As soon as I saw that I had to do an Irish accent. I'm so sorry. I turned to my right and see Cody's shoulder charge the door down into splinters. I ran low, feeling another blast of sound go flying over my head. It might have hit my body too, because my feet had suddenly gone numb. I dove into the room, rolling over to see Lesmond fall on top of me. Gah! I yelled as he rolled off of me. I raised my arms to the door, ready to cast another salt barrier if I had to. I thought everyone had managed to get out of the way of Orphan's blast, but I could make Enternode's pink flame shoe in the corner of the doorframe. He was levitating off the ground. Guys, I'm stuck! He yelled into our ears. Lesmond sent his bugs out to the door to try and help Enternode. From what I could see, he was actually stuck inside of the door that we used to enter this floor. Somehow it remained on his hinges, even with someone sitting inside of it. His padding had protected him, thankfully. We don't have to fight, Orphan, I heard Cody yell out. He was crouching behind the queen-sized bed that was littered in chips of paint. The rooms didn't have tile ceilings, and instead opted for street rock ones. I could see the hairline cracks gone round throughout it. Something told me it wasn't so safe in here. You aren't going to convince me, Orphan said, levitating towards Enternode, who was being assisted by Lesmond's bugs. His clothes flew like crazy on his body, and he leaned in to hand a killing blow on the defenseless Enternode. He's gonna kill me! Captain Obvious yelled out, desperately trying to break free. Please, Orphan, I'm your friend! We've been through so much together! Please! Please! I didn't think my salt could get in between them in time to save Enternode, but someone was faster. Like a bullet, I saw Dinofloss whiz past me. His legs bent backwards and his skill pulled tight. He slammed headfirst into Orphan's sound barrier like a ton of bricks. There was a loud boom that I could hear throughout my headphones. Orphan took a few steps backward, and Dino fell backwards onto his back. Orphan smiled wickedly as he stared at the senseless dinosaur on the ground. He raised his arms, ready to send the deathly blow into Dino's body, but it was cut off by the queen-sized bed that flew over my head and through the door frame, taking out part of the wall and smashing into his body, sending him flying to the wall that was opposite to us like a rocket. There's no period here. I wasn't sure if his sound barrier protected him, but I knew there was... Comma. Wait. Is there a comma? Comma conjunction? Okay, you didn't know. Never mind, there's no comma. I wasn't sure if his sound barrier protected him, but I knew this was our chance to detain him. Go! I shouted. Myself and Lusmal rushed through the hole Orphan and the bed had created into the room they landed in. With a bang from under the bed, it exploded into bits and pieces as the man trapped underneath it rose back up into the air. Enough! I felt him shout. I set a volley of salt through my fingers as thin a rod as possible and set to flying at Orphan, hoping it would slide past the barrier and pierce his abdomen. It split into pieces upon meeting the barrier. My temples were pounding and I was getting lightheaded. I reached for one of my EpiPens as the last one began shouting. Please see reason, he begged. We don't want to hurt you, Orphan. Yes, please, I heard Cody shout. He had pulled Enternode out of the door and helped Dino back to his feet behind us. We love you, Orphan, I shouted. Don't let the darkness say otherwise. Orphan's pupil narrowed slightly, and I could see his iris again. Instead of letting up his charade, he raised his hands again. I had the sudden realization that Orphan was attacking us on his own will, and not the darkness's. I was confused, but I also had to jump out of the way. Even by getting out of the way of the blast sent me flying in the direction I had jumped, which is to the right. I fell backwards until I slammed against the door that led to the bathroom. It opened as I hit it, and I landed on the cold tile floor that was littered with paint chips in the bathroom. Gah, I mumbled. I'm using an EpiPen, says Captain Obvious. Without thinking, I stabbed the pen into my neck. I felt a jolt go through me like I had taken a shot of cocaine, but the jolt was quickly replaced by a new sense of energy and enthusiasm. Suddenly, I felt like everything could still be okay, and that Orphan didn't really want to kill us. I looked up through the door to the bathroom and to the bedroom. I could see Lasmon propped up against the wall directly across from me. He had jumped to the left to avoid Orphan's blast, it seemed. I couldn't see Orphan from where I sat, save the border from his sound barrier that danced around just out of view. Wait, dance? I crawled out of the bathroom and saw what looked like a cat running laps around him. He tried following it into the attempts of blasting it into oblivion. He's distracted, I heard Enternode chat. Enternode chat. I'm sorry, I can't do this anymore. I have to go to the bathroom. I'm gonna piss. I'm laughing so hard. Oh my god. Oh my fucking god. I'm so sorry, Shade. Okay, I have to calm down. He's distracted, I heard an Enternode shout. Go! I saw Cody dash through the hole in the wall and charge at Orphan. I could see Orphan look up at him. He was going to blast him. Without really thinking, I set a wall of salt from my fingers in front of Cody, right in front of where Orphan stood. Orphan set a sound wave that would have sent Cody flying had it not smashed my salt barrier to pieces. Shards went all over Orphan's face, but I didn't make him out. I felt the ground tremble harder than ever before. I fell sideways and grabbed the wall for the support. I could feel the cracks running up and down it. I looked up to the ceiling and saw it start caving in. I looked back to Cody, who had put his crystal-studded fist through Orphan's barrier and into his face. The fucking paragraphs are so annoying. Orphan flew backwards and smashed through the wall like it was cardboard. Outside the wall was nothing, and he fell to the ground 45 stories below. Suddenly it was calm, and the ground had stopped shaking. The roof! I screamed, trying to run back into the hallway. It occurred to me that maybe Lost could escape, but Cody couldn't. I hit the ground as I flew through the hole back into the hallway, and I saw Enternode's cat run back around his legs. I spun around, ready to pull up another assault barrier to allow Cody to escape the crumbling room. I could see the street rock falling like an avalanche around him as he tried desperately to escape. With all my effort, I cast myself to form a bubble to protect his head. "No, Cody!" I heard Les shout. "Don't look away from him!" The ground had started trembling again. Cody stopped dead in the center of the room, myself protecting him from the falling debris. He tried to run around, but it was too late. It looked like he had gotten hit by a truck going the speed of sound. Ooh. He dead. His neck snapped back viciously as he flew towards me like a bullet. His left knee smashed my right shoulder pad as he flew past me, dislodging the headphone from my right ear. The rods tore at my ear, but Cody flew by with so much force that they couldn't stay in place. I could hear the vibrations in the sound and the crunch of Cody's vulnerable side colliding with the wall in the room behind me. There was no padding to help him here. I tried desperately to force the headphone back into my ear as I saw Orphan's body floating back through the hole in which he made through the wall. It was the black tar running down his nose from Cody's punch. He levitated back into the room, atop all the falling debris. I could hardly hear Dino screaming for assistance with Cody out. I left here under the deafening roar my right one. It sounded like I was underneath a space shuttle as it was sent to launch. My head was ringing as I forced the headphone back into my torn and bleeding air. The rods reattached. "Cody, breathe!" I could hear Dino shouting. I saw how hard his neck had snapped from Orphan's blast and how hard he's hit that wall. Cody was dead. "He's dead," I said. He's... "You son of a bitch!" I heard Enternode scream. "You stupid motherfucker, I'll kill you!" I saw Orphan smile wickedly at Cody's corpse from behind me. I felt so sick to my stomach. I leaned forward and vomited into the paint chips and ceiling tiles I sat atop, despite how much I feared vomiting. "We aren't going to save Orphan," I heard Orphan say. "Go for the kill." "No!" I heard Dino shout. "He can be fixed." "No!" I shouted back. "I can't lose another one of you. Just follow Los's orders." "No!" I heard Dino shout back. I felt the ground tremble again. "You don't know how badly I wanted to do that," Orphan said. Despite all the pain I was in, I got to my feet and pushed to my right. I ran further into the hallway. I was slipping in over the falling tiles and paint chips, which littered the ground so thickly they seemed like water. "Don't let him get a blast off on you," I shouted. "Stay around corners." At this point, the doors to the other 13 rooms on this floor were open from all the amount of damage, and I could see the roof had already caved in most of them. They would make an extra cover to dodge around. I turned around to see Enternode see Lost Mon gliding along the left wall, his bugs carrying him. Dino was charging over the rubble. Enternode was on his back. I could hardly see their faces with all the blood, dust, and lack of light, but they all looked horrified. We had just lost Cody, someone we'd known for so long, and I'd never really known him. I didn't care so much about him, and we always kept to ourselves. Now he's dead, and I had always treated him so badly. I looked up and saw Orphan onto the hallway. Lost, Enternode, and Dino all took refuge in the room to my right. We looked at each other. "I guess this is what you wanted," I screamed at the floating man. "I guess this is what you always wanted." "Oh, Shade, always so aggressive. I don't know why I ever put up with you. Why I ever called you my friend." Orphan trembled. He floated towards me. "When you lose everything, you just don't care anymore," he went on. "Lose everything," I screamed at him. "But you have us." "I don't want you." I took that as my cue to take cover. I rushed through the doorway to my left, forcing all the fallen sheetrock away from it as I pushed it open. I could feel the sound wave nearly miss me. "Wrong rooms, Shade." I hadn't heard Enternode scream. I just realized that my friends had taken the other door, but this was fine as well. This seemed like Orphan could only focus on the sound in one direction. "How do we stop him?" I asked. I almost expected a confident response from Lost. "We need to break his barrier, but he controls it, so we can't really break it without breaking him," Lost started. "Yeah, but Cody could punch right through it," I yelled. "Yeah, and we can't punch as hard as he could," Enternode shouted back. He hated that I said Cody's name. You can focus shots, Shade. Enternode Shade. If we distract him, you might be able to stab him through the barrier. You have to go for the kill. I could never purposely try to kill Orphan or anyone for that matter. Dino hadn't said anything. I think he believed what Lost was saying. I can feel from where you're standing through the ground. I heard the ground shovel. I can see you. I heard the door across from mine explode open, and the sounds from all of my other friends screaming. I took this as my chance. I lunged forward outside the door. Shade! Shade, don't! I heard through my headphones. As soon as I appeared outside my door to take a stab at Orphan, I came to face with him. He had blasted the other door open to lure me out. It was too late to do much of anything. I couldn't even scream before Orphan's sound waves slammed me. I never felt anything so painful. Everything happened so fast. One split second I was face to face with him, and the next I was inside the wall. I felt all the wind leave my body as my padding tried its best to absorb the blow. I could see stars taste my blood. It's a miracle I was still conscious. Though my twisted double vision, I could see Enternode's cat doing more circles around Orphan as Dino tried to wrestle him to the ground. Lost One was trying to use his bugs to get through the sound barrier. Lost was screaming something. I couldn't hear it. Ekisin! He screamed. What's an Ekisin? He kept screaming out at me. I felt the wall behind me slightly. Maybe this Ekisin would help me out of there. Maybe it would help me forget everything. That would be nice. My vote is in here to clean up a lot. Ekisin, EpiPen! Lost One shouted. He wanted me to use my EpiPen. I tried to use my left arm to grab it off my belt, but the arm was lodged too deeply into the wall. I tried my right arm. I pulled as hard as I could and broke it free. I looked at the palm of my hand. It was bloody and all scratched up. I could only imagine what my face looked like. Shade the wall! I heard Lost One shout. I sank a little lower. It occurred to me that I was inside of a wall that led up to a 45-story drop to my doom, and it was about to give way. A jolt of absorbent, absolute terror ran through my body, and I grabbed the EpiPen from my belt and shoved it into my neck, just an inch from my Adam's apple. I could feel the energy going through me again. Orphan put his hands forward, and Enternode and his cat went flying down the hall back the door where we entered. Hall back the door. Ugh. Grammar in there is a bit iffy. Lost One's bugs that had tried to break into Orphan's sound barrier all lay dead around him. Orphan looked at Lost. You're going to be the only one I enjoy killing. The one I really enjoy killing. I felt the ground tremble. Fat chance, I heard Lost One respond through my headphones. Orphan took a swing at him, but Lost dived out of the way of the bus and went charging back into the hall where Enternode had flown off to. Help me! I screamed. I tried so frantically to free myself from the wall, I just couldn't. I felt myself sink a little lower as I tried to heard the foundation give. I started falling. I could suddenly see light as the wall gave way, and I fell backwards with it. I felt weightless, and I knew my life was over. I was going to fall to my death. I felt a hand wrap around my leg. I looked up to see Dino staring at me through the hole in the side of the hotel. I looked down to see the ruin that was the hotel and the other buildings that were thousands of feet away from me. The roads looked like straws. Ah! Gah! I started screaming. Hold on! Dino shouted. I could hear while I was stuck inside to make contact with the road below. It exploded into a puff of dust. Help me, Dino! Dino screamed. Help me out! Dino screamed. I looked back at him and saw that he was barely hanging on with his elongated legs. I forced the salt out of my hands back up into the sides of the building, and I pulled myself up to Dino's level. He's going back! Enternode shouted. God damn it, Lost! Stop him! I could hear another huge sound blast coming from inside the building, and I heard Lost One's shouts of pain in my headphones. Dino had regained his footing. Pull me in, I shouted. Fucking please! Dino Floss tugged me as hard as he could, and I fell forward toward the hole into the building. It was all very difficult, considering the building was shaking like I was. My entire body was back inside of the hotel room, except my legs. All I needed to do was crawl back up. Why were my legs being so difficult? Thanks, man. You saved my eye was cut off by a sound blast from behind Dino. He tried to turn around, but the blink of an eye, he threw out the hole like a rag doll. Everything went in slow motion for me. I was also forced back out of the hole, where the only thing holding on was my fingers. I forced salt down to my shoes, and I stuck them to the outside of the wall. Dino! I screamed. Dino! I screamed. I turned my head around as best as I could to make out his body free make out his body free-falling helplessly away from the hotel. He was just a speck when his body disappeared behind a building in the distance. He was dead. He died trying to save me. I started screaming, tears pouring down my face. I didn't say anything particular, but I just screamed. I pounded my head into the wall in front of me. It started trembling harder. Still hanging in there, Shade? Still hanging in there, Shade? Orphan asked. I could see him approaching me through the hole. He looked like he was about to blast me, but something grabbed him from behind. He turned around before the ground started vibrating like it does when he gets attacked. I felt all the pain and all the anger go wild through my body. With a single motion, I flew back into the hole and rose to my feet. There seemed to be a snake that had a hold of Orphan's left leg. I could tell it was just a rat snake. Enternode wouldn't bring along a venomous snake. He didn't plan on killing or even fighting Orphan. With all the energy I could muster, I lunged forwards and sent my crystal knuckles into Orphan's face. My fist exploded through his sound barrier with a crash and made contact with his left cheek. He took a step back. His sound barrier flickered and he stopped floating before Last One appeared behind him and kicked his leg out from under him. Orphan staggered back downwards to one knee. I lunged forward and put my knee point straight into his head. He fell backwards onto his back. The vibration stopped. Everything was still. Orphan was unconscious. The snake retreated back behind Loss and wrapped itself around Enternode's leg, who appeared by Loss's side. "Kill him! Kill him!" Enternode screamed. "Do it!" I screamed back at Loss. I wanted to see this bastard pay for what he had done, but I could still never drag myself to do it, even after what he had done to my friends. First Cody and now Dino. I could have helped them both. Well, I could still avenge them. Cody shoved the Last One, who had frozen up, out of his way and down to Orphan's unconscious body. He reached for a piece of debris and arced his arm back to pound Orphan's skull in. But as his arm was coming down, Orphan's sound barrier reappeared at the speed of sound. The piece of debris in Enternode's hand went flying away, but Enternode stayed in place because Orphan had also reached up and grabbed him. I took a few steps backwards, making sure to get away from the hole that sealed Dino's fate. "Fuck!" Enternode screamed. Last One tried to help stop Orphan by pounding him on his face, but Orphan's other hand grabbed his shoe and flung him out of the room. I heard Last One scream in pain and saw Orphan prepared to send Enternode into oblivion. "No!" I shouted. I lunged forward with a dagger of salt and tried to stab it through Orphan's barrier. I felt the dagger go past it and dug deep into his lower abdomen. The ground vibrated so hard that I actually fell over besides Orphan. But where a sound blast pushed me away. The snake had tried to wrap around Orphan's neck, but the same blast sent it flying into the wall like a stick. The same blast also nailed Enternode into the torso and sent him flying backwards into the squeeze-side bed. He didn't hit the bed with his back. He landed more on his side. I could see his body do a very painful arc as his abdomen was stopped by the bed, but his chest and up kept going. He made a 90-degree angle on the bed. I knew that wasn't good. I heard him yelling into my ears, but I paid no attention as I rose my feet and attempted to take another stab at Orphan before regaining his bearings. I was so angry and so hurt that I felt nothing but the compulsions to stab this son of a bitch. He turned and pulled his head up, but I dived forward. I forced the salt dagger to expand forward, and I felt it pierce into his shoulder before I was sent flying backwards. I crashed right into his wall in the room next to her. I lay on top of the debris, trying desperately to catch my breath and stay conscious. I could tell by my fragile conditions I needed an EpiPen, but this was my last one. After this, I had nothing. I tried to lift my head, but it weighted more down than the giant pieces of debris around me. I thought about Cody and how much he had contributed to us. I thought about Dino and how much he always made everything better. I thought about Orphan and how we were always mean to him. How we always picked on him from the way how he looked or how we spoke. Man, it's no wonder why he wanted us dead. But that made no sense. He always took our insults on the shoulder, and it never bothered him. Why was he so angry at us? I'd wondered why earlier, but nothing makes sense. I blamed the darkness for his actions, but he seems to be doing this on his own will. All per his own will. What did we do to him? I pulled the last EpiPen from the holder on my back, and stabbed it into my neck. I swear doing this isn't good for my body. I felt the weakness and pain subside, but this time I didn't breathe a huge sigh of relief. I can't feel my legs, Enternode shouted. Please work. Please, Orphan, please. I looked up through the hole in the room in front of me, and I saw Orphan leaning over Enternode's body that had slipped off the bed. Please, Orphan, please. I promise we'll do anything to help you. Anything! Enternode was clawing and screaming, trying to find some sort of humanity in what used to be our friend. But he found nothing. I couldn't get up to help him. My body was still recovering from being sent through another wall. I didn't know where Lasmon was, but he was the only person who could save Enternode. Wait, Orphan. Wait, Orphan! I heard Las yell. Orphan! Orphan turned to the door as Enternode entered it. Kill me. Spare him. Las said. Spare Shade too. I'm the one you want dead. Las, what are you doing? I choked out. He had gotten down to his knees, offering himself to Orphan. The ground vibrated. I like the sacrifice, he said, but I'd prefer just to kill you all. His hand swept down onto Enternode's helpless body. I could hear Enternode choke something out, but it was only silence at the point like the sound wave into the ground blasted his organs to mush. The ground around him gave way, and his body fell to the floor below us. No! I heard Las crying out. I looked down at my hands, and I focused all my energy into a concentrated orb of salt. It was so hard to focus on anything, with all my friends dying. But I knew at this point that if I didn't do this, then me and Lasmon would die too. There was no stopping this monster. Lasmon had charged forwards, trying desperately to call out his face. All of his bugs seemed to have died. Orphan merely shrugged them off, pushing them away with a very light sound blast. I'm saving you for last, the ground said. Shade is next. He turned to face me, and I took that as my opportunity. In the split second before I unleashed a barrage on him, I noticed that he wasn't floating anymore, and he didn't have a sound barrier around him. The ground still trembled from his presence, but the damage I had already done, his body was showing. He was weakened, and he knew I posed much more of a threat than Lasmon did. Something as stupid as salt constructs has done more damage than anything else. From my hands I unleashed a massive wave of salt. It flew like a beam toward Orphan. Orphan. Oh, Jesus. The blast was met by a sound wave. The blast was immaculate, sending me sliding across the debris further into a room and sending Orphan backwards into the hole he created when he sent Enternode through the ground. He fell into the floor below. Salt fragments went everywhere, into my eyes and into Orphan's too, I was sure. I melted them anyways because I had to hurry up and get back to Las. I rose to my feet and immediately collapsed again. There was so much more hurt that I wanted to believe. From the hole, Lasmon climbed through into the room with me. His face was in tatters. One of his eyes was sealed closed from swelling, and both of his lips had split open like bananas. Shade. My shoe, he said. I realized he was only wearing one shoe. Orphan must have dislodged the other one when he grabbed Las's leg earlier. From what I could tell, his ankle must have been broken, too. He was at the full mercy of Orphan's sound waves now. He had nothing to protect himself. I wanted to tell him to hide. I wanted to so badly just to grab him and appear back with all our friends around us. Cuddy would be talking about his show. Enternode would be complaining about college. Dino would be sitting back watching all of us. We would have all been together putting up with Orphan and Dylan's charades. Lasmon would still be working on his latest. His latest what? And Kitty would still be with Orphan. You misspelled it. Wait, where was Kitty in all of this? Last I recalled she was really sick, but I thought she was recovering. Shouldn't she be here with Orphan? They were like bread and butter, always together. She made Orphan's life livable. I suddenly had an idea of why he was so angry. Las, hide, I told him. I can't, he replied. He can see us through walls. I realized how screwed we were. The vibrating grew larger, stronger as I saw Orphan rise to the hole he had fell into. His sound barrier was still gone, and he clenched his side where I stabbed him. He looked dead to me. I crawled out of his line of sight around the corner of the wall. Las just sat there in the hole between the two rooms. I began focusing all my remaining energy in one last salt blast. Las rose to his feet. Las, move! I shouted to him. He turned and smiled at me. Make sure you don't forgive me, or anyone else. Forget me, or anyone else that died today, he mumbled. I could feel Orphan coming closer. I said nothing as I saw Lasmon turn to face the monster. One single bug ran from under his right elbow plate. He sat in the bloody palm of his right hand. He clenched it in his fist as the sound wave went through his body. Without a shoe, the sound went up his leg and crushed his bones to powder. I saw his headphones fly out of his ears by the blood that began gushing out of him as he sent flying backwards into the wall opposite of the hole in the wall. He was dead long before he made contact with it. I looked at the salt construct in my head. I had one chance to make it all right. I had one chance to avenge everyone here and save so many more people. One chance. Orphan appeared through the hole in the wall, a sound wave already aimed at my body, but I lunged forward at him like a spear. I don't know if I traveled faster than sound, but I know this. My salt construct, which had extended to the sides in the shape of a lance, pierced through Orphan's chest long before he could blast me into oblivion. The salt pierced his heart, and for a split second our souls connected. I was standing in a brightly lit hallway, walking towards the end of it. I walked to the last door to the left before opening slowly. Inside, I saw Kitty laying on a cot, blankets wrapped around her. She was shivering in the room. Despite being set to room temperature, was freezing cold. "I'm so sorry, Kitty," I said with Orphan's voice. "I'm so sorry." I began crying as I fell to my knees before her bed. She rolled over slowly to face me. She was pale, and her eyes were bloodshot. She looked like a skeleton from the darkness that had consumed her for so long. She had fought this demon for many years, but she was finally at the end of her line. "You tried everything," Katie said, smiling weakly, putting her hand on my cheek. "But I can't be fixed." "No. Last didn't let me try everything," Orphan mumbled. "I wanted to do this for so many years, but my friends never let me." "Orphan," she mumbled, "it's okay. I still love you." Without a second thought, I leaned forward and pressed my lips to hers. She could not pull me away as she didn't have the strength to. I was sucking the darkness out of her in frail, hopeless last-ditch effort to save her. I felt the tar seep into my skin. I pulled backwards, collapsing into the cold tile floor. I began choking, spitting, retching. I tried so hard to force the darkness out, but it was already lashed onto me. After a few minutes, I rose to my knees, clutching my fist. I looked up to Kitty, and to my horror, I saw that she was no longer breathing. Her last words were her saying she loved me. "No," I mumbled. "No! No, no, no!" I tried doing CPR on her and filling all her lungs with air, but after 20 minutes it finally hit me that she was not coming back. Even after it was gone, she lost her war with the darkness. And now it was inside of me. All was fair in love and war. I must have sat there for hours. I don't know how long it was. The minutes oh, God. The minutes flew by like birds. I was mad. I was so angry at the darkness inside me. Myself for not helping her, and my friends that held me back from helping her. My friends. A voice whispered to me in the lightest voice, "Your friends, who only put you down and laugh as the only good person in your life falls away. Your friends." The endless tears ceased, and were replaced by tears of fury. "They haven't even come to see if you or her is all right. You've been here for hours and not one of them," the voice continued. Hatred flooded my heart like water beating through a dam. With a scream of fury, I sent a sound blast into the wall ahead of me. Paint chips went flying everywhere. I'd never been able to use my power like that. Like this. I rose to my feet, then kept rising. I turned and looked at one last person I could have saved had I not been held back. I would make them pay. All of them. I blew the door open off its hinges and flew out to wreak my havoc onto the city. They would find me, this I know, and there I would kill them. All of them. I opened my eyes and stared into Orphan's. The black tar poured out of them like an oil spill. His pupils had returned to normal size as bright red blood dribbled out of his mouth. "I'm sorry," I said to him. If I'd known how sick she was, I would have taken the darkness from her too. I'm sorry I was so stupid. I still held the salt lance in my left hand. It was still rested inside his heart. With a thought I made the salt fade away, leaving only an open wound. Blood began coming out of his mouth much faster. He looked at me. "Thank you," he choked out. I couldn't hear him say it or feel the ground vibrate, but I saw his lips from the words. He fell backwards and was dead before he hit the ground. I was on my knees, but I felt my head had grown heavily. I collapsed to my side, my head hitting the debris. I thought about Cody, and Dino, and Loss, and Enternode. I thought about how happy they'd be to know I made things right, that I made their deaths worth it. I thought about how happy Orphan would be to see Kitty again in the afterlife. It was so incredibly difficult to breathe. I thought about it, all the people back at our community who would miss us. who would never forget us and what we did. I thought about the innocent people of the city who would rest easy knowing themselves and their family and their friends were safe. I thought about how peaceful this all was, and now that the ground was calm, everything was so beautiful. I closed my eyes and smiled as I gave my last breath. Damn. That was... I didn't know if Shade would beat his last story, but I think he did. That was damn good. At points, the grammar was a bit iffy. I pointed those out, and for some reason this formatting seems to have changed a little bit. I don't know why. Like, did it? I don't know. Maybe I'm just staring at a fucking screen for too long. It's 12 in the morning. Jesus Christ. In any case. That's not it. What's the shortcut for this? Control S? That's save. Struggle through. Obviously I'm not reading my own story, so, you know, whatever. And now the final stretch. Do I think Shade's story beats everyone else's? It can very well easily beat them. Although, this is a very good contender below it. I don't know how mine's going to fare. I spent quite a while on it, but I lost. The fact I wasn't able to finish my story basically killed my chances of winning, especially against Shades, which is disappointing, but, you know, life. And now I'm actually kind of really upset about it, but I didn't have enough time this week, besides, I guess, maybe today, to really... What the fuck am I looking at? The Christian adventure of the all-powerful, plot-armorish, living legend, bad musician, Orphan Orpgab, now in Comic Sans. These brackets signify author notes. There will be a lot of these. They're probably going to annoy you as they pull you out of the immersion of the story if there were any to begin with. Ooh, brackets within brackets. I'm getting fancy now. Oh, I'm getting off track. I probably make it seem cringy. I'm not sorry for any of them. Enjoy, peons. What is this? What am I looking at? I don't even want to read this. I don't want to read this. Do I have to read this? Irvin wrote this. Orphan, of course the main character is Orphan. Who else would it be aside from myself, of course? Or maybe I'm the villain. Woke up about 6 in the morning. A-E-S-T, of course. To the sound of some kid yelling at his mom to get out of his room because he's playing Minecraft. There are going to be a lot of these. Prepare yourself. Orphan lay in bed, contemplating the life choices that led him to getting here. Making crappy EDM music, no swearing allowed, and lost his Christian lore jam. With a decreasing subscriber count due to his lack of Minecraft videos. You know what to do. He got up and had breakfast or something and then walked outside. Immediately, his neighbor Kitty woke up to him and engaged him. In conversation. What should he do? A. Run. B. Propose. Marry. Have children. Then run. Leaving behind a solitary toaster with electric outlets. C. Talk. D. Get killed. Let's go with option C. Kitty began rambling on about her undying love for Orphan. Orphan had time for her. Now let's not use a single word that is a profanity. Actions that were from the heart and should be ignored. He ignored them anyway. Oh, was that a spoiler? Orphan ignored her anyway. Tarnation. Orphan was getting triggered because Orphan couldn't be bothered, so she took matters into her hands and clubbed him over the head with a toaster. But Orphan didn't give her the toaster yet. How did she get the toaster? The last thing Orphan saw was some fat Italian guy saying that all toasters toast toast. which he thought was funny because it was from a professional Mario spin-off on the bloody Philips CDI that was doomed to fail from the start. So Orphan woke up in a room that was covered in some. Oh, this is gonna be a lot in the lower gem. Then Kitty walked in dressed in a section written action due to it being thoroughly unchristian. Yeah, you're lucky I edited that part out. Just think of something unchristian and let your imaginations run wild. Birthday suit! So Orphan ended up in the street after that experience. He ended up, and then he got up and walked away because he's tough as a brick. This is simile only. And no, it's nothing, and no thing. He's walking through whichever city he lives in when some old dude in a dark alley starts talking to him. Orphan was feeling really ticked off, thumbs up, after being kidnapped by Kitty, so he decided to walk away. Before he could turn around, the guy clubbed him over the head with a toaster. Seriously, where are these toasters coming from? When Orphan woke up, he was actually in a nice room. Then the old guy walked in and started giving Orphan some advice combined with a bit of backstory. Hey, I better get a top store for this lass. Couldn't you have used footnotes? Oh, right, you're using fucking Google Docs, of course you can. He was saying that Orphan was some all-powerful god thingy with plot armor included free. But Orphan was busy thinking about his next song that he was going to write. It was going to be bad. And then some weird stuff happened, and Orphan ended up outside again, and he walked off because he was tough as a brick. So as Orphan was walking around the city, a wall exploded. Violent, I know. Then some guy dressed in a suspense great salt shaker. Of course, my villain was going to be Shade. Torm is a touchy subject and so blatantly obvious, so they decided not to make Java. You're welcome. So this fool dressed up as a giant salt shaker ripped out a piece of paper, very scary. He then ran up to Orphan and gave him a paper cut. Ouch. And then he quite literally rubbed salt in the wound. I'm sure you all enjoyed that pun. While Orphan was writhing in pain, Shade kicked him in the male reproductive organs. But Orphan was as strong as a brick, so Shade broke his foot. Never kick a gun in the testicles, people. It was painful. Shade was hobbling around in pain while Orphan had collapsed and was screaming about the paper cut. For those who wondering why he got a paper cut, it was strong as a brick. Paper beats rock, or in this case, brick. Enough said. Then their injuries were healed conveniently. Is this an anime? And then Shade started throwing paper planes at Orphan. Orphan, suddenly gaining control of his super godlike anime powers, pulled out every Orphan meme that there ever was. He opened with a line, "We have tonight to make fun," before ending to remodel Shade's ass if he tried that again. Shade then stole a meme, and then countered with the almighty. Basically, the entire time I was thinking, is this seriously this fucking meme again? Ugh. And then it spread to me at the end, wait, who's my waifu? Waifu? I'm not. Sugar. God damn it. Do you appreciate the effort I put into the meaningless things? No, I don't. Orphan then proceeded to beat up Shade. It was depressingly easy to do once you had super godlike pilot's plot strength. That and Shade's weak. The guy was throwing paper airplanes. As he walked away, he heard the sound of a place rack up. He walked up to him, pointed to the Shade, said, "I beat his ass," and then he walked off. Now a hero is some inspiring thing about Bob. See, Orphan is the hero and Shade is the villain. Okay, but the theme is superhero, so, you know. So now that Orphan had his plot strength, he figured he'd go beat up that arrogant little Hold on, this isn't right. I said no swearing in the story, but you are no longer in control of the story. Who in tarnation is this Orphan? What? There were too many offensive jokes in the story. I'm taking control. You can't do this. This is my story, my rules. Not anymore, kiddo. No you. So anyway, back into the story. I went to go beat up this arrogant little shit Urban who was constantly making jokes about everything. This time I got some revenge. I walked up to his house before realizing he was in Australia. I know this makes no sense. I'm Orphan. I make no sense. So I teleported to Australia because I can do that now. I knocked on his door. Some guy with a rocking hot bod and a killer smile opened the door. Yes, this is totally what it looks like. He looked at me with a smile and said, "Time to wake up, Orphan. This was all a dream." Orphan woke up. He walked out of his bedroom and took out his totem, a metal pot, and spun it on the table. Before he could check that stopped spinning, he noticed something and walked out the door. The pot began to wobble and slow down, but the screen faded to black as the audience could see if it stopped spinning. A cheeky reference for those who you love, Leo. So yeah, none of this was real per se. It was all a dream because I know people love that sort of thing. Heh. Did you really think I would have Orphan beat me up in my own story? I'm sure everyone wanted it to happen though, so I don't expect the story to win. I just made it for a laugh. I'm pretty sure I stayed with the respectable boundaries, and I even kept it pretty much Christian. No tornation for this guy. For yeah, this is my story. It looks to be about 1,381 words, which is respectable. No wait, it's 1,391 words. But I'm writing these lines, and the word count has increased to 1/3. Word count has increased to 1,397. I could keep on doing this forever, but I'm not going to. I hope you enjoyed my story, even if it was bad. Now I'm writing a last sentence to reach the maximum amount of words. There we go. Word count 1,451 word. 1,450 words. Oh, that was a fucking mouthful, but for one, there's no maximum. I don't know what you're talking about. And second of all, I have to go to the bathroom. Again. Because I've drank probably about 3 liters of water right now. And a quick start. So, yeah, I'll be right back, I guess. 2 more going. Nazbug's Heisey Star. Please say this is short. I don't want to do this for too much longer. This has actually been really fucking long. Note, I have no regrets. Somebody once told me Remark is gonna kill me. I ain't the sharpest robber in the heist. He was looking kind of dumb with his finger and her thumb in the shape of a BR on his forehead. Well, the heists start coming and they don't stop coming. Fed to the rules and I hit the ground running from the cops. Didn't make sense not to rob for fun. Your bag gets full, but your head gets dumb. So much to do, so much to see. So what's wrong with robbing the wrong bank? You never know if you don't rob. You never shine if you don't glow. Hey now, you're a BR. Get your mask on. Go rob. Hey now, you're a plant. Get the plant in your vest on. Get arrested. Oh my fucking god, it's... Yeah. I don't think I can't finish this. I'm sorry. Oh, man. And cross that out. Sorry, those bugs, but you didn't even... Like, you didn't even try to make it even fit. And lastly is Asmalon with Keep That Dignity. Okay. It's a fucking PowerPoint, of course. Can my... present? Asmelon. Hello, my dear player. My name is Asmalon, and this is a fun little interactive story I wrote for a Heist Gone Wrong second lore gem. It's the third, though. It's about a fellow named Retired Orphan who has to get to the end without losing his dignity. Please keep in mind that the story's contents are not meant to target or belittle Orphan or anyone else, and are simply there to help the reader through Orphan's everyday struggle of not falling victim to numerous circumstances and keeping his dignity. Good luck, and I hope you enjoyed the story. Gotcha. Hello, my name is Retired Orphan. I've been trying to not lose my dignity, but it has been proving to be surprisingly difficult in the past, so I ask for your help in keeping it. As the story goes, you will be asked to make some decisions and shall you pick the wrong answer, I will lose my dignity. Make sure that does not happen. So will you help me in my quest? No. Wow, you've just seriously offended me. My dignity is now gone. Okay. Game over. You didn't even try. Alright, fine. I'll help you. Good. Here are some things we've got to watch out for. First of all, there is this person called Urban, and even though he's purely amazing at everything, he often tries to get me to re-upload Minecraft, a game that only people without dignity play. There's also Pending, who annoys me when he gets the chance to, and then there's Kitty. With her, for some reason, everything I say backfires tremendously. There might even be other threats to my dignity waiting for me as well. And you will protect me from them. I'm trusting your social skills here, so don't fail me. What social skills? Alright, so I want to go back into making music, which is the main thing on my channel since I stopped playing video games. I just checked my email, and I've got something from a person called Kangaroo Fan 4447. He said he was a huge fan of my gaming videos, and there's an Ace Attorney-like game that he wants me to record by finally getting gaming videos. Sounds like a fun game. Shall I try it out? No. Actually, you're right. I have, after all, moved on from gaming, my boy, so I shouldn't go back. Now to this song. It sounds decent, but it is too similar to my latest hit, Cheese. I think I should find new sound packs so I can use different and better sounds. A good option would be going on Discord and ask some people if they know of any good sound packs. Do I ask? Yeah, you don't want to embarrass yourself. Hey, Orphan. Here, I found a wonderful new sample pack for you. It will fit your song perfectly. Go ahead and download it at constructionporn.com. No, thank you. Nope. Pendong, just nope. Not clicking that link. No, no, no. Constructionporn.com. What the hell even is that? Now close Discord and go back to your Pokemon porn and don't interrupt me anymore. Ouch, that hurt so much. You just ruined my dignity. Oh, wait, I'm just kidding. I'm not Orphan. Phew. What the fuck did I just hear, Orphan? Were you talking about Pokemon porn and shit, you son of a bitch? Damn, Mom. Damn, Mom, I was just joking around with my Discord for you. Just made a big mistake. Did you just say, damn, you fucking shithead? You are now grounded for eternity. No friends, no games, no electronics, no music, no math. No. Well, that wasn't very good, although thankfully it could have been worse. At least I got to keep... Oh, and no dignity. Orphan has dignity taken away from him, and you couldn't do anything about it, you loser. No, you. Hey, Orphan here. I found a wonderful new sample pack. Okay, fine. I'll open it. This link is broken. It says the site can't be reached. Ha, fooled you. I'm going back to Pokemon. I mean League now. Okay. Something about this entire situation feels off. Like, I know. Situations where people can lose their dignity can happen, but why do I seem to be targeted so much for it? And honestly, seems like some pretty dark forces are in play. At this rate, I'll probably be gay-bricked soon. You're a gay-brick... No. No, shut up now. What did I do? You almost gay-bricked me. What? Time for an old dude to give us a backstory. The gay brick is an ancient terror. It has been used by dark memers for centuries, and every single person who has ever gay bricked instantly lost their dignity. People have been trying to find a way to defend against this dreadful meme, but with no success. This day, nobody's dignity has ever survived a gay bricking. Oh no. To finally put an end to the dark meme force that's been restlessly haunting Orphan, he has to find an ultra-powerful artifact, which is known to repel dark memers. It looks like this. It also has the side effects of triggering lost wands and killing conversations. Okay. Now I must find the current possessor of the artifact and ask him to give it to me. Oh, hey, I found him. Hey, you give it to me. Okay, there's just one small complication. If you want me to give you the artifact, you have to be gay. Oh no. Well, this is a difficult situation. Do I pretend to be gay to get the artifact? After all, my dignity is more important than misrepresenting my sexuality. No, hey, wait a minute. If I act like a gay brick, that's... No. Oh, well, sorry, but I'm not gay. Is there any other way I can get the artifact? Not really. I'll just wait for someone gay to come along. So what now? Okay, so it's time to go back to my base and think out the further plan. Orp, Gab, where are you? Oh no, Kitty's looking for me. What do I do? Hide. So this seems like a nice restaurant to hide in. No way Kitty will find me here. I feel like eating some pasta now. Hey, do you have any pasta? I'm here. Wait, what are you? I'm pasta. Okay. Listen, I know this might be a long shot, but is there any chance you're gay? There certainly is. I'm the gayest pasta on the planet. Yay, you can get the artifact for me now. Yay. So I'm gay. Give me the artifact now. Yay, great. Here's your artifact. Finally safe. I am now finally safe against the forces of dark memers. With this amazing artifact, I hope no one dares to gay brick me now. Actually, I could improve it and make it 10 times cooler so that I'm pretty much guaranteed to make me not gay bricked. Shall I do so? No. Uh-oh, I feel darkness is approaching. It's almost as if the moment of truth is here. Will my artifact protect me from the forces of pure evil, or will I be gay bricked into forever losing my dignity? Time to find out. GL. I am finally here. Orpgab. For months you have avoided my wrath, but you can't hide anymore. I will now unleash my full power of beam darkness onto you, so that your dignity wave your dignity goodbye. Hunting you down was a lot of fun, but everything comes to an end, and this moment has finally come. You are a gay brick. No, dies. GG. Yes, I have defeated the dark meme powers that have been haunting me for eternities, and now my dignity is finally safe, all thanks to you. I am extremely grateful. In fact, as a thank you, I will make an EDM track specifically for you, the player. Wait, no! A winner is you. Congratulations. Thank you for reading my short interactive adventure. Some parts were rushed due to the lack of time, so don't judge. May the power of myself, Asmalon, be with you forever. Okay. I believe that's the end. Right? I'm not going to go through and get all the game overs because honestly that's just too much work. And that's everything. Jesus Christ, it's fucking 12:30 and my throat is sore as shit. Overall, I enjoyed reading some of the stories that actually had some work put into them. Some more than others. I can commend Cole's effort, but at the same time, everyone that actually tried in this conversation has him beat. I'm sorry, but I hmm. I like the plot, but there are a couple of holes in it. You know, Kitty's was good, although I don't really understand what she's going after. Half of these I don't even think fit the theme. Like this is supposed to be an invent and heist or a superhero story, and a lot of these don't follow either. So yeah, I don't really know what to say about that. In any case, I'm gonna have to probably start editing this, which will keep me up until 4 in the fucking morning. So I wish you all goodwill in reading all of these, because holy fuck.